All right, we're gonna see what we got here. Well, that's interesting. Huh, we're not coming out on YouTube. There it is. There. Darn it, an echo. Why in the world do I have an echo? Testing. Huh, I have an echo. And I did this once before and couldn't figure out why. Let me cut off YouTube. Does that do it? I still got the echo. So it's on. Oh, I see. I know what's happening. I got two channels open. Let's see if that's better. No, I need to cut. Testing, testing. Let's kill this. And it might add to stay. I've got two accounts open. Mute mic. That doesn't work. Well, all right. I'm gonna jump out of here and come back in. Hang tight. I'll be right back. There. I got it. Get back up into YouTube and see if we're good to go. Okay. I think I'm there. Can you hear me? Can I be heard when you do live chat? The echo is gone. Ah, time hop. They give time hop a wrench here. And Stillinya is here. been around about as long as I have, and it's been about as egregious as I have. All right, I'm just catching up on wrenches here with everybody. We got a bunch of new folks in. So, who was this? Seasmore, did I give you? I did. And Cole, I did not. And VK, what the heck? Okay. Bunch of new guys here. We'll get you all wrenched up here in a minute. I think we got it all. Doobie. Gotta get Doobie wrenched up. Okay. We're there. Farah. Michelle. Hi, Michelle. And hi, Farah. Look at all this. Look at all the new people. Half of the people in here are brand new. Wow. How'd you all hear about us? Isaac. That was Albert or Alberto. Alberto and Isaac. Now, if you want to keep your wrench, you guys, you got to go to Father Fish and subscribe. Because if you don't, when you come back next time, your wrench will be gone. And I'll have to do this all over again. So get over and subscribe. Mr. FTBL07, big fan of your channel. Thank you, sir. Mr. F needs a wrench. You got it. Let's see how long it takes YouTube to get them together here. Laurie Katie, did I do Laurie? No, I did not. Goodness sakes. What a mob. Okay, I think I got everybody now, Julia. And Alberto, we got them all. We got them all. It may take a little while. ABC Biotopes. Just hit 1,000. All right. All right. Wonderful. Have you gotten your, what is it, 2,000 hours? If you don't, do some live streaming because that'll get your hours up. That's the quickest way to get hours up is live streaming. 20 people on for an hour is 20 hours. 100 people is 100 hours. So it adds up pretty quick. Alberto San. Oh, it's Alberto, right? We got Alberto. And Isaac, and we got Isaac. Villafuerte. Nice to see you guys. Throw them fins on the like button and thank you all for being here, says Guppy Love. Amen to that. All right, I think we got everybody. Congrats, ABC. Proud of you. Happy for you. You got a most deserving channel. Jake the Animator. Are we early tonight? Yeah, we're early every night. I come on at quarter of so I can spend time fritzing around with all the settings because something is always wrong. I don't know if I can sit back in this chair. Let's see if I can sit back in the chair. and see the screen and be in front of the camera and do my mouths. We are early tonight, a little bit, little bit. We always start about 15 minutes early, about quarter of, and we'll run through until 8 o'clock or thereabouts. Rarely run over. 2 hours is long enough to wear me out. So unless something is really phenomenal, I won't stay on past 8. It also steps on other people, and that's not fair. Jenny is here. Jenny is doing a merch store, doing Fatherfish merch, and has some just really incredible stuff. Like this little beauty. Look at that. Get dirted with Fatherfish. Is that nice? And I want you to know it's on both sides. Pretty cool. Lots of t-shirts, lots of hoodies, all kinds of stuff. It's really, really a neat store. You can get to it. Put your link up, Jenny. You can also get to it through the Father Fish store. Everything or most everything is also listed on the Father Fish store. So you can get to it from there. Or from her link, which she's going to post momentarily. What else? Let's see. Oh, we got the down blue button already. Lord. Wonder what percentage of aquariums we're using the father fish method in 10 years. Really good question, Andrew. I don't have any sense of what the percentage is now. If I had to guess, it would be less than 10%. I doubt that they're 10%. And that would only be YouTubers. I think we've only got, it could be better than that. There are more and more YouTube channels coming up that are doing dirted, dirted aquariums and featuring dirted aquariums. So it could be better than that. I think until we get into the big box stores with a product line, a dirted product line, we're not going to make it. But not to get the numbers, because that's where the market is, and that's where the marketing is. I really, I really feel like we need to do that. I've been trying to have a conversation with there's a distributor, a manufacturer. He's more than a distributor. He's a supplier. Who's real high quality. He has sponsored some channels. I've talked to him. This is a natural for him. He could slot it into his product line seamlessly. But I can't get him off the dime. I don't know why. He just for some reason he can't see it, and I don't know what he can't see. I probably need to call him again, beat him over the head. Um, he's a man who I appreciate, who I respect for his integrity, and he's got a substantial business. And I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much. Maybe I'll just try to call him again this week and see if I can. Either that, or I'm going to have to do it myself. And I tell you what, the thought of it leaves me a little limp. I'm doing 200 orders a week right now, and it's not stressing us out, but we're right at the max. Another another 50 to 100, and I think we'd really be up against it. And 300 orders a week, I mean, that's really, now that's retail. If it were wholesale, 300 orders a week would be, that would be a lot. But I don't want to have to set up a manufacturing facility. I don't have a clue how to do that. That's something I really would need help with. So I don't know. I don't know. I need to call him up and beat him over the head. Give him a wrench. Give him a wrench. Right. Yeah, it's a good question, Andrew. How many in 10 years? This is the link. Well, what? This is the link. That ain't the link. What? Is it here? Go to channel. Well, maybe Miyuki. Hello, Miyuki. Give Miyuki a wrench here. Daddy Doug. Hello, Daddy Doug. Daddy Doug is a member of our YouTube channel, been doing dirt for 20 years. Bravo. Tatty. Hello, Tatty. Give you a wrench. What are we up to? 90. David and Naughty is here. Do you think more Petcos will set up other fish? Only if it really comes to the attention of the central office. That's a local store kind of doing its own thing. We'll see. Somebody at some point is gonna take a notion to capitalize on this market because they're gonna realize there really is a market. And when they do, that'll probably be the place where we'll see a major shift away from gravel and plastic. We'll see more plant sales, more fish sales, less chemical sales. It'll be interesting. Tatty, you're welcome. Thank you, Reginald Green. Need to demand your products. That's a good point, Reginald. It really is. If you go into your local store and say, I need to get the Father Fish supplement, and tell them, can't you get it? You can get it. Surely you can get it. Why can't you get it? Well, who did it? I'll tell you what, though. Every local shop in this country knows about Father Fish because every single store in this country has had people coming in talking about it and asking about it. Payne family. Mother Father Fish order showing up tomorrow. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Payne family, for your super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see if we can get you showing up here on the screen. I gotta get all the way down. Whoa. Blew past it. There it is. Oh, what's this? Daddy Doug is a new member. Welcome, Daddy Doug. And looking for. I can only do this on StreamYard. Here it is. Payne family. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Now, if I get to the bottom, it'll keep jumping. All right. Payne had a typo. Not in your text. Peace, love, puppies. Oh, there you go. Local Pet Sense going to let me set up a fatherfish tank after they watched my YouTube. Bravo. Bravo. Nice. Witherball. 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 Psycho Plant Lady. Hello, you're back. Psycho Plant Lady has been grilling, which I need some of. Let's start a campaign, Father Fish Today, says Reginald. Easy enough to do. Call up your shop, go in your shop, ask them if they carry Father Fish Substrate supplement. Father Fish supplement. Ask them if they carry it. And if they don't, ask them if they will. Here's the problem. I had some sitting in super cichlids for 6 months, and they didn't sell it, but they also didn't market it. It was, I think it actually was put away. I don't even remember. Um, anything like that, anything new has to be marketed unless people are looking for it. And there certainly are more people now looking for it. If God, I don't think I can do it. I can't. I would have to crank out 1,000 bags a week. Right now, I'm doing maybe 100, maybe. I don't know what I don't know what it would take to do it. I'd have to get 2 full-time people, and I'd have to be bringing product in by the truckload. I can't even imagine what it would take to do that. I should make a substrate. I do make a substrate, Gamer One. It's for sale on my website. I've got the substrate. It's all put together and ready to go. In fact, I just added another 25% to it to get a little more volume because it was just a little thin. Now, let me say something about that. If your dirt is less than an inch in anything under a 55-gallon tank, it is not going to make a bit of difference. It's not going to hurt a thing. Let's see, I just missed. Where'd it go? Right there. Witherball. Thank you for the super chat. It's not going to hurt a thing. It's not going to be a problem. The nutrients will still be there. They still will be able to do their thing. So if it's a little light, not to worry. It won't be a problem. Here's Thomas. Thomas Gear, 1999 super sticker. Thank you, Thomas. So very, very much. That's very kind of you. Anyway, I think I am increasing it to get a little bit more. For the 55, it's going to be just at 1 inch, maybe slightly less. You can add a little to it if you want. You can add some potting soil or peat moss or compost, whatever you like. You can add a little bit to it, but you really don't need to. It really will be just fine. You don't need a full inch. More than an inch tends to be a problem because it tends to work its way up through the sand. So unless you got a much bigger tank with a deeper sand cap, don't do more than an inch. Do just 1 inch, a little bit less. Frankly, in a 10-gallon tank, a half an inch is more than adequate. You really don't even need a full inch in a 10-gallon tank. Half an inch will do just fine. So don't get all worked up about not having enough. It'll be enough. What's a scientific name for marine calcium? Calcium ascorbate and calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is calcium carbonate, as is ascorbate. Marine calcium is probably calcium carbonate. More than likely. It's hard to say what it is. It could be nothing more than crushed shell, which would make it calcium carbonate and some other stuff. But calcium ascorbate I've never used. I do use calcium carbonate. Not sure about ascorbate. We'll have to ask my Eve about calcium ascorbate. It's odd because carbonate holds pH stable. It acts as a buffer. I don't know that ascorbate does. Let me see if I can find out anything. That's a really good one. Oh, no. Copy. There we go. Let's see. Let me go over here and look at calcium carbonate. I need my keyboard. What did I do with it? Calcium carbonate. And I want to ask, oh, ascorbate is vitamin C. Um, calcium carbonate, it buffer? I would assume it does. It's a buffered form of vitamin C. Haha. Oh, shields from acidity. Okay, so yeah, vitamin C can be used as a buffer. What is going on here? PJ leopard Corydoras. Can you show how to breed them in father fish tank? Leopard cories. Um, I can. I haven't done leopards per se. Cories in general, um, they lay a sticky egg, and they don't lay it on the bottom. They lay it on either floating material or hardscape. In your tank, very often they'll lay it on the glass. Now, the problem is they also like to eat their eggs. So when you see them and they'll be put there in the morning, you need to remove them. You can take them off with a razor blade or a credit card. They come off pretty easy. Hold a net underneath, scrape them loose, and then move them into a separate container. Any clean container will do. Put them in a jar and float them in the tank until they hatch. Once they hatch, you need to feed them, and the best food is going to be like a microworm culture or some kind of paramecium, something like that. Even green water, algae, whatever. Um, but you want to get the eggs out. They're not going to survive otherwise. What is going on here? Eerie. Brother-in-law watching from his hospital bed. I get it. That's strange. I had somebody come up on Wednesday. Was that your brother, Erie? Somebody was in a hospital bed, and came up on the show and tell. Know how to breed aquatic isopod. In order to breed isopods, you need to have a food web. It needs to be an established food web. They will feed on other material like blanched spinach or that sort of thing, but an established food web, and set that up in a little tank by itself. Don't put fish in there because they'll keep the population down. You can breed them, you need to feed them pretty heavily. You can feed them leaves, leaves will be adequate. You can supplement that with some green leafy vegetables. It's just a better food for them. But that's the way you have to do it. You have to set them up in a pretty rich food web, small container. Doesn't have to be a tank. It can be a tub. It can be anything. But you want them to be you want there to be no fish in with them. 6 foot, 180 gallon. I would do 2 inches in that centurin. In a 180, I'm going to be setting up a 180 here pretty quick. I'm going to do 2 inches, and I'm going to do a 2 inch sand cap, and then a 1 inch, to half inch to 1 inch super fine sand cap. I just ordered some super fine sand, some powder sand. I'm of the opinion that a powdered sand, I know it works as effectively as regular sand. It doesn't compact any more than sand does. Sand does not compact. Fine sand doesn't either. Roots are able to get into it, microfauna are able to get into it, bacteria and so forth. But I believe you can have a shallower cap with a finer sand. That's going to be the trial. I want to get that one figured out, because if we can do that, then we can greatly reduce that 2 inches down to as little as half an inch, and be able to grow carpeting plants much more easily. Half inch would be adequate. A carpeting plant would be able to get to nutrients with half an inch. So I hope to get that going this week or the following. I'm waiting for the sand to come in. Keith might contain clay. Can I use natural clay sand? I tell you what, Keith, you can, but you have to do it dry. You have to put it in on top of the soil, bone dry, and then cover it completely with a plastic bag or something like that. So when you put the water in, the water is percolating into it rather than rushing into it. That way it's not bubbling it up. You're not getting cloudiness. There's going to be a little bit anyway. Now, what I'm suggesting is you use it without rinsing it. I think there is benefit to using play sand without rinsing it if you do it carefully, such as not to get the dust into the water column, because that dust will function as a very fine grit and a very fine mineralization if it's clay dust in the tank. It will be beneficial, in other words. But you got to be careful with it, because if you're not, it'll get in the water column, and then you're going to have to filter it out or change water to get rid of it, because it won't precipitate out, at least not if you have any kind of turbidity at all. Let's see, Payne family. I've had my tank set up for 3 weeks. All parameters are perfect. I have an algae or bacteria bloom that developed, a whitish green cloud. I see a mosquito right on the screen. How long will it take to clear up and balance? Make sure you've got adequate plants in there. Generally, if you start getting algae, it's because there is inadequate plant growth. The same is true of bacteria. If you start getting bacteria, it's really the same problem. The bacteria is feeding on excess rotting material, which becomes nitrates, ammonia, and so forth. So you want to get extra plants in there. Um, watch your feeding. Make sure you're not overfeeding. If you can get a food web going, you can reduce feeding to once or twice a week. When you first are setting up your tank, it is best if you feed a minuscule amount very occasionally. Force the fish to forage and provide forage for them in the form of a food web. What that does is it takes the pressure off of the system to have to balance itself with a whole lot of extra bioload in the tank. By reducing the bioload, you're making it possible for that balance to be achieved much more quickly and much more easily. Now, you get 2 weeks, a month, 2 months down the road, you can be feeding a bit more. And if you're trying to beef your fish up to get them in spawning condition, you will need to be able to feed them. Unless you have a few fish with a very substantial food web, the food web will never be adequate. Hear me on this. The food web will never be adequate to fully meet the needs of your fish. There are exceptions. The exceptions are basically a few fish dependent upon it with a substantial layer and very few other fish in the tank that are dependent upon a food web. So you can do it with little fish that are down in that material all the time, uh, uh, um, searching for food, foraging. Oh, Aiden Mitchell. Hi there, Aiden. Nice to see you. Going to give you a wrench. Get you all blue here. Erie, hey, Erie. Aiden, Aiden, Evi. Evi, all right, found a nymph mayfly in my tank. Don't know. I got it. I had to get rid of him. The mayfly nymph is not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt fish. They eat microfauna, and fish eat them. So it's actually quite a good food. Aiden, post your question, Aiden. Did I give you a wrench? I did. Is this Fortnite? Let's see. Carly Twig, I think my shrimp, like the very tiny snails, they're always there, never spread out. The shrimp like their escargot. If they can get to them, I'm sure they can. Stan Pittman. Erie, I beat it, Erie. Cut early, cranked the heat up, and whooped it. Talking, folks talking about getting sick and dealing with it. Um, do, do, do. Yeah, I'm diabetic. Um, my blood sugars run about 100 to 110 in the morning. I don't check it at night. I check it once a day in the morning. I take insulin. I take 30 units a day in the morning. But I'm on a protein diet as much as possible. I don't absolutely exclude carbs, but I reduce carbs substantially. And by substantially, I mean a lot, down to it's no more than 10% of my diet. Sidious is here talking about the newsletter, and it is wonderful. Do take a look at the newsletter, click on the link, it'll take you right there. We're going to be doing it once a month, so there will be a new newsletter coming out the first of every month. My favorite type of fish. Let's get Fairy Queen a wrench. Turn you blue. Favorite type of fish. I'll tell you what. My favorite fish is not the fish I'm trying to get. That's the fish I'm trying to get. My favorite fish probably actually is bettas. I have a very few right now, which I'm not paying attention to. I've got them in a tank with a bunch of other stuff. I've been thinking about getting a substantial group of maybe 20, 25 males and 50 females and start setting up a breeding operation. I got to get my temperature up first in my warehouse to be able to do that. So probably in another month or so, when I can get up dependably over 70 degrees, then I'm going to get bettas in and start spawning them. And I will breed them. I'm going to also be breeding them outdoors and see if I can get them jumping up outdoors as well. I don't think there's much that's prettier than than a tank, a tub, an outdoor tub with 100 very colorful bettas in it. Just amazing. Danny Ken, nice to see you, Kenny. Hope I guess I am, and I hope you are too. Um, and it's nice to have you here, Captain Andrew Crabtree. Crabtree, sorry, Crabtree. What happened here? Add moderator. Da 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 da. And what's down here? Peace, love, puppies. Look at this. Peace, love, puppies. How long do you have to have father fish tank set up before you can remove the hangover hang on the back filter? I don't use them. If I've got one, I tend to get rid of it pretty quickly. They just tend to be a problem. I do use sponge filters, and frankly, I have sponge filters in all my tanks permanently, mainly for the flow. It provides a little bit of flow, and it provides a little bit of filtration. If my water starts getting a little cloudy or something, it'll clear it up. I find it's a nice backup that's pretty unobtrusive. Other than the fact you can see them, so you gotta somehow disguise them. Um, People are trying other kinds of sponge filters, which are good. I like them. I've used like the Matin filter. I've used Matins. I tend not to because they're cumbersome. When you have to take them out after a year or so to clean them, it's almost it's a half a disaster. Half a disaster doing it. unless I haven't learned how to do it right. And that's certainly possible. Let's see. Captain Andrew asked me earlier, and I missed it. What do you think about guppy grass? Recently got some rooted in substrate, generally set it free. It's a nice plant, particularly if you have guppies or any kind of live bearer, because it'll provide security for babies. It'll provide a way for them to be able to be genuinely secure. Well, they'll be able to get out of the way when somebody tries to swallow them whole. By the way, peace, love, puppies. Thank you so much for the 1999 super chat. Very kind of you. Carlos. Let's see. Did I do Crabtree Wrench? I think I did. I did. We need to do Carlos Wrench. And then Carlos says, how does someone know if there's a way to create a homemade fertilizer for my fish tank? My plants need more nutrients, but I'll soon change the substrate with a better one. Father Fish method. Hmm. Well, I suppose if you don't have a dirted tank, you can push plant tabs down in your sand. A fertilizer is always detrimental to the growth of plants. That seems counterintuitive, but hear me out. It contains certain minerals, materials, and hormones that trigger leaf growth and sometimes stem growth on the plants. It does not promote root growth. In fact, it hinders root growth because it puts the nutrients right up against the plant where they don't have to reach out to get it. That's why in a gravel tank, feeding with root tabs, your plants do not develop roots. They don't need to. And so they become disabled in their ability to hold themselves down in the substrate and they get rooted up all the time. Succoplant lady, Chloe. Let's see. Phone keeps funny in Petco instead of Psycho. Funny. Oh dear. Rope Sander. Hello, Rope Sander. Captain needs a wrench. Where's Captain? Captain, yeah, he's got it. It just YouTube's a little slow doling them out. Right. Aquatic moose, deep substrate, bottom layer emulsion and detritus, highlight crazy plant growth. Basically, that's right. Just had paradise fish spawn. Fry or free swimming today. Tank full of piranha. Fairy Queen started up my 10-gallon fish tank because of you. I have a koi galaxy betta and some mystery snails in it. Your channel has given me a huge sense of confidence in fish keeping. Well, thank you, Fairy Queen. I appreciate that very much. Alden is saying, bye, y'all. Have fun talking. You betcha. And 3G is saying, Captain Andrew, whatever way you like it is the right way. Within reason. Fish Tropic Canada. Hello, hello. Mittis Factory is here. Yeah, they're bullies. They are bullies. They are world-class bullies. We have another donation here from Payne family again. What's the best way to remove plants without disturbing the substrate? Really good question. It's pretty easy to do. You jiggle them. You jiggle them. And here's what happens. The reason pulling a plant up, just ripping it up, will release all kind of dirt in the tank is because the cilia on the hair root are what's holding the dirt. They actually attach to it. By jiggling it, you break those cilia. Now, not to worry. Once you pull the plant out of the tank, the cilia are ruined anyway. But the plant very quickly and very easily grows new cilia. It'll do it in a day or two. Those are the very, very fine, teeny tiny roots that you see growing out of the roots. That's that's the part of the root that actually does the feeding. That's like of the mouth of the plant root, those little cilia. So by jiggling it, you're breaking them loose and leaving the dirt that they're attached to down in there. You pull it up kind of slowly jiggling as it comes, and there'll be very, very little dirt. It won't be noticeable. Is that a good trick or what? Honey Grammys are always sweet. Could not agree more. Absolutely. And I don't have any. The other one that's very much like it is the orange chromide, another really sweet little fish. They look a lot like a honey gourami. Same color, same size, same shape. Um, both, I don't know that you can keep them together. Probably can. But I had a colony of them that spawned once, and the babies they did real well with in colony. That was kind of remarkable. Where are we? Who loves bettas? I love bettas. Oh, will you allow visitors when you start breeding bettas? Says Julius. I allow visitors all the time. I just don't get many yet. But we're only here in the mornings at this point. Things get busier, we'll be here all day. There are days when I'm here all day because I tend to sit here and work on the computer and I'm puttering around with the tanks. I'll be doing more of that now that it's starting to get warm. So, really looking forward to that. Holla Girl is here. Hello, West Virginia Holla Girl. A holler. It's not holla, it's holler. It's a holler. She's from a holler. A holler is a hole in the mountain where you holler out and it goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't echo, but it's like yodeling. A hollow is a place you you yodel and echo from. So it's holler, a hoot and a holler. From down in the holler. I'm from down in the holler. Down in the holler over there on Bard Mountain. That holler over on the east side. That holler right there. That's where I'm from. I was born and raised there. Born and raised. Born and raised. Grew up there. Grew up there, born and raised there. Ain't know nothing about nothing except that holler. I hollered, that holler is my home. My home it is. That's my home. I go back there to go home. Back there in that holler. I don't go back there much anymore. Pretty well worn out, that holler. Worn out. Ain't much left. Oh dear. Dire wolf, like a Betta, but I'm afraid my tanks have too much flow. It's a good it's a good concern. You can certainly keep a Betta in a bowl, and they do perfectly fine in a bowl. You just don't want to foul it. You want plants in it. You want a sand substrate in it. You put a little dirt in, not much, quarter inch or so, cap it with an inch of sand, and put some plants in there, and it will be fine. And if you can feed him once a day, some live food like worms or even little tiny pieces of shrimp, anything like that, that will take it all in. Sounds like you. Psycho plant lady. Oh my. Oh my. Stephanie Hurst. Been adding leaf litter to the tank. I'm limited to what leaves I can get, but the tannins are darkening the tank. I don't want to stop adding them, but I don't want it to get too dark. Yeah, just get out and about more and find some other leaves. If you will find leaves in a creek, they're going to have the tannins washed out already. So that's going to really work a lot better. And it will bring more uh, 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 biological material into your tank. It'll help you to maximize that bacterial system. So that would be well, excuse me, worth doing. Who is this? Ricky Anderson. I'll get to in a minute, Ricky. Aquatic moose. Let's see what else. Uh, 3G, be happy fish breeder. Join the Father Fish Show, says Psycho Plant Lady. Ricky Anderson, love my planting tank. Thank you so much. Starting up with with my fourth tank with all red plants. Nice. I have got a deal. Have I got a deal on red plants? I think I'm going to do a package deal. I'm going to do a special on red plants this week. I'm going to do 5 red plants for 25. Can I do that? Ooh, 29.95. 5 red plant bunches, my choice, for 29.95. That'll be a real steal because they normally run $8, $9. So it's like 40 to almost $50. 29.95. Gonna do it. Best time to start when they first popping up rope. Get out there in the spring when the plants are just starting to pop up out of the bottom, and try to get root with them, or tuber, whatever it is. Pygmy Cory's albino. Never heard of a pygmy Cory. Must be comma albino and brown bristle. Those Pleca pandagera. Oh wow, really? Pygmy Cory's, albino and brown bristle nose, plecos, and pandagera. Nice, nice. Commas are your friends, Dan. Aquatic moose. Red-eye puffer like to eat earthworms. Just stopped eating them. Thinks she's bored or picky. Uh, Let her go hungry. Let her starve. Just let her starve for a couple of weeks. If she's pretty good size, let her burn off some fat. She probably is overweight from eating all the worms and needs to reduce her body mass in order to get back to a healthy state. Think about that a minute. Think about that a fish is capable and kind of automatically adjusts its weight to suit its health. I tell you what, Can we learn from fish or can we learn from fish? Mercy, mercy. Wednesday, yes, by all means. Ricky, show up Wednesday for our show and tell. Great fun. Daniel Ingalls, if my mail plates. No idea what that means. But I'm gonna give you gonna give you a wrench here. Turn you blue. Get all wrenched up here. So let's see. Centurion, what type of carpeting plant will work with a 2-inch sand cap in a large tank? Almost none, unless you build a food web. If you build a food web, that will provide very quick nutrients right at the surface, and you'll be able to grow plants in that. And almost any will do. Start with Cuba if you can, or baby tears, or hairgrass. Hairgrass maybe is the easiest because it's got a better root system and it'll permeate better. You can definitely overworm, says Gary. You betcha. You betcha. I figured it out the third time through. We should be fish. We should be fish. We should learn from fish. Neil, learn from. That's what our tanks are for. Listen, here. I'm going to break the news to you. This is going to be a significant breakthrough in the Father Fish channel. We're going to the next level. And we're going to begin doing it, I should say, in the next video, which will come out next Friday. We're doing one video a week now, and it's high quality, the best we can do. We're putting extra time in on it to make sure it's really good quality. We're going back and reviewing it, we're editing it before we get it out. So we're going to be cranking out some much better quality videos. The last one is probably not even a good example because it was taken from an a spontaneous live stream I did Monday a week ago, or was it last Monday? Last Monday, that happened to have some really wonderful conversation in it. Okay, but here's the thing: the breakthrough is this: your natural aquarium teaches you how to relate to nature because it teaches you what nature is and how nature works. And if you've been doing this for a while, you know what I'm talking about. And you really can learn from it and inform your gardening skills, your yard maintenance skills, your environmental skills, and your attitude toward nature in general. Now, there's a fifth one there that I'm not going to talk about yet because it's going to be in that first video. So, those four you're going to get plus a magic fifth. Some of you already have an inkling. I'm absolutely certain of it. Gardening. Yard work, which is a component of gardening, also extends to how you're dealing with plants and other living things in your general environment. Your attitude your attitude toward your wider environment, how you treat it, and your your understanding of nature, what nature is, what nature does, how it works. And there will be a fifth that'll pull it all together. I'm going to start that this coming week. Fifth nano, says Gamer One. Bravo. Great idea. Makes sense. Thank you. She's been eating every day. Yeah, she's glutted. She's got extra fat. And a fish that has extra fat can't function. It's like it's sick and it stops eating until it can get down to its normal healthy condition. Then it'll start eating again. That's the lesson we need to learn. That when we are out of shape, when we are becoming obese like this, when we've got too much on us, it's a simple enough matter to control it. Here's the issue: we become addicted to the items that put that weight on and that cause that cholesterol, cause that diabetes, cause that heart condition, cause the problems with the liver, and so forth and so on. It is the addiction of sugars and carbohydrates that are the true toxins. Where do you find sugars and carbohydrates in your fish tank? Where do you find them? Where are they? Are the fish eating them? Not if they can help it. Give a fish a bug and a piece of potato, and it will eat the bug and ignore the potato. You can't even put sugar in a tank, it fouls it instantly. Sugar and carbs as standalone food is completely, utterly worthless to the body. It is simply stored as fat because it has no value other than a prevention against some future starvation. So fine, starve, burn it off. You can always add more. Easy enough to do. I've burned off 50 pounds in the last 10 months, 9 months, 10 months. 50 pounds. I'm going after the next 10. If I can get down to the next 10, that'll get me to 200. I will still be overweight. I'll still be 20 pounds minimum overweight, but I'm going to be a lot happier and I'll be able to set that goal. How am I doing it? No sugar, no carbs. My blood sugar is dead normal all the time, unless I cheat. And I do cheat. I had a friend here with me for a month. We cheated every day, the day long we cheated. That was his food source. It became my food source. What's amazing to me is that in that month, I thought I had put on, excuse me, I thought I had put on weight because I was up like 120, 121. 2 days after he's gone and I'm back on my diet. This morning I was at 214. So that 7 pounds disappeared. I'm almost where I was a month ago. I was at 212, so I'm back to 214. Going to get back to 212, get down to 210, and then slide into 200. It'll take me another couple of months because it goes slow. At those levels, it goes slow. I had a gift this month. I bought a new car. I got to tell you this. I had looked around for a car. I've been driving my shop van from the old store for nigh on to 15 years. And it's kind of beat up. The heater doesn't work. A lot of other things like door locks no don't work. It runs like a clock. I mean, the engine is amazing. It's a Ford Econoline, a van. But I wanted to get another car, and I've been making enough money with the plants to be able to afford to do that. So I started looking around. I decided what I really wanted was a Ford SUV. I picked one out in the lot, didn't want to pay the price for it, decided to keep looking. Was at church 3 weeks ago, came outside, was looking at an SUV, an Explorer, 2017 Explorer, sitting there in mint condition. The owner walked up to me and said, "Oh, you like my car?" "Yeah, I really do. It's what I want to get. It's exactly what I want. I want to get a used car that's in really nice shape." She said, "Well, I'm trading it in on a new car." I about dropped. I said, "What are they giving you for it?" She told me. I said, "I'll match it. In fact, I'll give you another 1,000." Actually, she charged me that, but that's okay. I was thinking it. I was thinking it. I'll give you another 1,000 on top of that. We made the deal. I got the car, picked it up last Saturday. It is a dream. I am so pleased to have a nice car to drive around that's got some power and pickup, that's safe, that's a secure car. I just hope to take care of it adequately. So there was that. And then there was something else about that I was going to get into, and I've already forgotten what it is. Anyway, the car. Mitch, is it possible to adapt terrestrial moss to an aquatic life and put it in an aquarium? Generally, it is not. There are aquatic mosses, and you can find them. Most terrestrial mosses will survive soaking wet, but not drowned. They breathe air. They can be totally wet all the time, but they breathe air. They cannot take air out of the water. There are mosses that can. Look for them in streams. You will find them in native bodies. There are mosses growing underwater in local streams everywhere in the world. Find them, bring them home. They'll be absolutely perfect. You can try it. I've tried many different species. None have worked. Some you can leave in for a week or so, take them out, drain them, let them sit out for a week, and then put them back in. You can do that kind of thing, and that actually works pretty well. It takes considerably more effort to do it. Good question. Let's see. Chocolate and carrot cake. I know. I bought a candy bar today, a chocolate bar. I did. And I've eaten most of it. The rest of it is in this coffee, which I haven't gotten down to yet. So I'm not altogether back on the diet, is what that's all about. That's the problem. The problem with sugars is it gets into your system and it creates its own, it's like a demon that gets into you and possesses you and demands that you do things. It's like, it's hard to get it out, folks. Hard to get it out. The critical thing is to not have it around. That's the biggest thing. If it's not around, you can't unconsciously grab it and scarf it. And then when you're in the grocery store, don't buy it. Avoid those aisles. I was getting some chicken today at Royal Farm, and I was waiting around for it to come out of the oven, out of the steam table, because I wanted to get it fresh and hot. And so I was walking around, and what caught my eye but a dark chocolate Royal Farms candy bar. And I thought, I got to see what this is like. So I bought it, and I've now eaten all but about 3 pieces of it. And I'll pay for it. I'll have to take a shot tonight, about 5 units to cover it. And tomorrow I'll be slightly elevated. I'll be up around 130 or so. So I'll take another 5 units to get back down. So I'll pay for it, and hopefully I'll be able to get away from it. It ain't all that wonderful. It's like any other chocolate. It's really not anything special I can tell myself. How do you treat septicemia in fish? Whoa. Whoa. How do you treat septicemia in fish? Well, that's a good one. Let's see what Google has to say about it. Septicemia in fish. In the fish tank, in fish treatment. Well, they're recommending Canaplex. It's a bacterial. Oh, yeah, I figured. Can fish survive it? There's no cure. It's a virus. Not all infected fish show symptoms, but may be carriers. Can fish survive? How do you treat it? It's epistillin. Um, you can do antibiotic. Feed the biotic laced food very lightly till the infestation clears. That's a really good piece of advice. When you're treating for any kind of systemic sickness, like a bacterial infection, that's not localized, that's a body wide infection. You want to treat it. You want to treat it with a small treatment over a long duration, a little bit over a month, and until you gradually begin seeing it reduced and disappearing. You can do things like feed crushed garlic, like add salt. There are a lot of bacterias that will not survive in salt, and likely there are viruses that are salt sensitive as well. So salt becomes a good treatment. I would recommend you remove the fish so it doesn't infect other fish and so that you can treat it more drastically, more dramatically, doing things you would not want to do in your tank. The shin stealer, how can you tell if it's septicemia? That's the $1,000 question. And the answer is you cannot. It is it is a matter of methadone. I don't want methadone. It's a matter of elimination, a process of elimination. Elimination by treatment more than anything else. Yeah, it is a walk in the park. Um, I find the best thing to do is to isolate the fish immediately. By doing that, you're preventing the virus or the bacteria from effectively spawning, from multiplying, from shedding, and attaching itself to other fish. That's absolutely critical. The instant you see a sign of it, pull the fish out and keep doing that. Keep pulling them out until you don't see it anymore. That's one very effective way to control it. Now, you can treat those fish. You may or may not be successful using some better protocols, and we've developed a group of protocols that are in our new book that we're publishing on how to treat these kinds of conditions. So there are treatments that are more or less effective depending on how disciplined you are in applying them. So you can save your fish probably 75% of the time. The critical thing is to not allow that to persist in your aquarium. So you need to eliminate it, and you cannot eliminate it with treatment. It won't work. All you'll do is stress everything else out and you'll make it worse. Remove the affected fish, get it out of the tank. Anytime you see a fish with a problem that you don't understand, that looks potentially problematic, remove it. Put it in a tank by itself. And if you find another one, put it in a tank with the other one. Then you can figure out how to treat them. Do not leave sick fish in your tank. Don't do it. Just absolutely don't do it. How are we doing time wise here? Oh, we just hit the hour mark. We got another hour. Junior Colson, Neon Tetras. Yeah, Neons and Cardinals. I've got Neons and Cardinals. Let's see. We already got your wrench. You just hadn't seen it yet. Father Pig, William Avery, your Super Red 5 pack for $39.99 is sold out. When will you have them back on the website? I will try to get to it this evening. If I can remember it, I'll get to it this evening. Um, yeah, it's going to be a better deal than that. It's going to be $10 cheaper than that. You may get. I will guarantee of the five. I'll guarantee two species. I'll try to do three. You may get lucky and get three species. You will for sure get two. Jenny called me this evening and remind me to do that, please. Wesley Tennyson. Do these general techniques work for paludariums as well as aquariums? Really excellent question. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. You do not need the cap to near the extent you need it in water. And the reason is you're not going to have the effect of water washing the soil up into the air. So the dirt's going to stay in the dirt. It's going to stay down there. You can do a little bit of a cap. I would do something like charcoal, like a ground charcoal or carbon as a cap, something like that. But other than that, yeah, everything else is the same, particularly the nutrients. The nutrients are really what's critical because that's what runs out in these enclosed systems. And you need to have enough in there for it to be able to carry on for a matter of years until the system can fully cycle its entire nutrient base in order to restore used minerals and nutrients that are in the substrate. And that simply is a function of time. So the richer that compost is, the richer that substrate is, and the better quality it is, the longer it's going to last and the more it's going to get you to the critical mass place where it will sustain itself permanent excuse me permanently. Do check out the newsletter. Oh my, I've got the hiccups. Caused by an air pocket in the esophagus. Did you know that? You have to get it down into the belly or belch it out. I don't do well belching. There. Let's see. Sterilite tubs. There's, yeah, that's right. 20 quart sterilite tubs, 5 gallon, perfect. I like them. I use them a lot. Wesley Tennyson. Thank you for that excellent question, Wesley. Let's see. Always in moderation. Indeed, always in moderation. Kenneth Clarkson says my fatty fish plants are growing an inch a day. What just, oh, the lights in the tanks went off. I've got them set to 7 o'clock. Um, I think I'm just going to leave them off at this point. I don't know whether you noticed the big tank it's got some algae in it. The little one does not, but it does have tannins in it. So we're we're uh, we're letting them take care of themselves. I'm adding plants continuously. I add a few plants pretty much every day. The big tank needs more than the little one. I'm ordering some bigger swords this week. I should be able to get some big mother swords, so I will have some of those available. Plus the big potted Anubias. I'll have some of those as well. I got 4 of them, I think, and sold them all. They're really wonderful, and I sell them potted. I don't do that with the swords. I do it with the Anubias. Let's see. Moderator for somebody there. Kenneth Clarkson, it was. Erie, it's got two crypts. Crypts can be troublesome. And the only reason is they have to have a strong root base. And it may take them a long time to grow that root base. I remember some years ago, I had a handful of crypts that had the leaves had rotted out, the roots were still good. So I planted all the roots and forgot about it. 6 months later, there's sprouts coming up. Every one of those plants sprouted and grew beautifully, but it can take time. They plants have to have a strong root system before they can put out stems and leaves. That's the problem with fertilizer. It forces them to put out stems and leaves before the roots are capable of supporting them. And then they're stuck. They're totally dependent on that fertilizer you're putting in there to be able to keep those roots and leaves and stems going. So don't do that. Don't fertilize your plants. It stresses them out and causes them to grow in abnormal ways, and you get afflicted plants. You get plants that have a disability. You don't want to disable your plants. And that's precisely what fertilizers do. Now, those who use them religiously are doing it because it is the only way to keep their plants alive, because their substrate has no nutrients in it. They're not conscious of that. They're not conscious of creating an environment in which the plant will be able to function normally. They're caught up in a mentality that says this has to be done in a laboratory fashion. You can't have a plant growing naturally in a fish tank, is their thinking. Well, they're wrong. And we are doing everything we can to demonstrate that they are wrong. You can grow plants every bit as lushly, prolifically, without fertilizers if you have a rich substrate. CO2 is another matter. However, a properly maintained deep substrate with adequate sand cap will generate substantial amounts of CO2, which are taken up by the roots of plants. Sorry, folks, they are. Plants take up CO2 out of the substrate, and there is adequate CO2 in the substrate if it's properly constituted for the plant to be able to provide for all of its needs. So, again, even with CO2, you don't need it. And in point of fact, it creates the same set of problems because when you stop dosing with CO2, the plant becomes stressed. It's not used to taking CO2 out of the substrate. It hasn't built itself to be able to do that. And so it suffers, it struggles until it can get that root system going and get that transfer of CO2 material going into its system in order to be able to provide for its needs. You always want the plant to provide for its own needs. Your job is to provide what the plant needs in order to be able to provide for its own needs. And I realize you can play that any different number of ways. Just play it honest. Don't use fertilizers. And if you're not using CO2, don't start. If you are, cut back slowly and gradually. Don't cut it off all of a sudden. Put a little pressure on the plant to find another source. And it'll work. It'll take a while. It'll take maybe a couple of months, but it'll work. Vegas Tesla rides. Got your plant package. Can I add the dead leaves to it? For food once planted in the cloudy water from soaking the plants any benefit? Yes, 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 absolutely. 16 beers gives me hiccups, says Bombs. Yeah, me too. Me too. I haven't done 16 beers. I went to a it's not a microbrewery, smaller than a microbrewery, a nano, a nano brewery. Went to a nano brewery. It's a neighbor of mine here in the warehouse units. They're open Friday night and Saturday night for 3 hours. The master brewer brews about 8 or 9 different beers. And none of it is what you would typically find anywhere else in the world. He has, let me think now. He has pepper beer. He has, boy, I can't even remember. He's got a Mexican beer that has jalapeno in it or something. It just goes kind of on like that. Some of it was all pretty good actually. Um, and I'm going to go back and drink just one, maybe next week. I'll drink one glass. I tested it all in little cups. It was fun. It was fun. And somebody had gotten a big Mexican pie that they were sharing. So it was, when you're Irish, every brewery is small. Gonna put the boat in tomorrow. Oh, I want to put my boat in, Stan. I'm not gonna put it in tomorrow, but it's coming. I've not. I bought this boat last August, I think. I've not had it in the water, so it's gonna go in the next couple of weeks. I've got it on a trickle charge. Batteries are up. I haven't checked to see if it's gassed up. I need to do that. And I'm gonna get it out. Psycho Plant Lady, guys, it's made my night. You are a delight, Psycho Plant Lady. So appreciate you. Absolutely do. Most valuable player. Guppy Love says, Psycho Plant Lady, you betcha. You betcha. Lights out for Father Fish's tanks. Indeed. Who's this? Gunto? Yes. Where are we now? Moved on to the bass. Note 3G. I've moved on to the bass. We're killing it. Stan Pittman. Nice. Oh. Father Fish beer tester. Yeah. Uh, thank you. This really made my night. You betcha, dear. You betcha. Chad Gardens, enjoy the Oscars tonight. Oh dear. I probably won't even notice it's on. Are we down to the bottom? I think we are. Have you kept small reservoir? I have. In fact, I've got some right now. I bought about 20 of them and split them up into 3 tanks. It was not my intention to do it, but they kind of got out of the bag. So I've got him in 3 different tanks. You can tell he was a Methodist. Come now, Stan. There's Dallin Mangum, 99-cent super sticker. Thank you, Dallin. That's very kind of you. Celebrate their first super on a live stream. You bet, Dallin. Oh dear. Drink jalapeno beer. Yeah, it was not my favorite. And Guppy Love is leaving us. Bless you, Guppy Love. Nice to have you with us. Thank you, Dallin, for your 99-cent super sticker. Bravo to you. Oh my. What are we on? About a half an hour? About. Well, we need to do something. I've run out of Guinness. Yeah, I don't drink Budweiser. I never did actually. Love you too, Guppy Love. Oh my. I was gonna wear my nice white sweater tonight and I spilled coffee on it and then I tried to wash it out and soaked it and stained it, so I don't know. I may have to throw it out and buy a new one. It's so disturbing getting anything white, particularly sweaters, because they pick up every fly speck. They're hopeless. All right, we're getting some activity here now. Brent, any thoughts on blue tetras? Um, Not that I can think of. What do you know about blue tetras, Brent? Sandra Cran. Here's another 99-cent super sticker by Sandra. Thank you, Sandra. Very kind of you. Appreciate you so much. Love you, my dear. Super first on the live stream for Sandra. Bravo, Sandra. Now, what do we got here? Uh, huh. Oh, that was $1.99. Did I read it wrong? I did. It's $1.99, and it's Dallin. It's Dallin Magnum. Thank you, Dallin. That's a $5 question. Where is it? Where is it, Dallin? What do you think of the current state of the U.S.? Oh dear. Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. I try not to. I try not to. I try to live in a way that will, what's a good word to use here? I think I've got one. I try to live in a way that will buffer the current state of our nation because it needs buffering. It has become acidic. How's that? right out of a fish tank. We need alkalinity. Quit drinking coffee first of the year. Yeah, I quit for a long time and then I went back to it. I found it was a problem when I first got on the um, the protein diet. Coffee was creating a problem for me. I can't even remember what it was, but I got off of it and felt much better. And then about 6 months later, I went back to it a little bit black. No, I started putting cream in it, and now I'm kind of getting back into it. I'm drinking a couple of cups of black coffee a day, typically in the morning, although I got a little bit left in here. I'm down to the chocolate, and I can see it has not dissolved. I thought it would dissolve. So now I've got chocolate stuck to the bottom of my coffee cup. Oh, Erie says, just shoot the breeze, Papa. You've already impressed. Funny people, funny. How do I slow down the breeding of platies? Well, first of all, why would you want to? And second of all, it's really quite simple. You create a boys' tank and a girls' tank. I mean, what else is there to do? You can either take out the boys or take out the girls, but you're going to have to take out one or the other and put them in their own. And that will make them all very unhappy. So, again, why would you want to? Mercy, mercy, mercy. Slow down the breeding. You could slow down the feeding. That would slow down the growth of the babies if they had less food to nurture their embryos on. Let's see. Ooh, soak the rest in more coffee. I put an Endler adult in with a Betta, had to save it from its jaws. Betta's Jacques Checker. Jacques Checker moved my Rasbora from the quarantine tank to the 75 this evening. My Rasbora, no less. One of them jumped out as I was trying to catch him down to the floor 4 feet below. I put him in a bowl of water and he recovered. They do. Isn't it amazing? They can fall. He's what, half an inch long? Let's call it an inch. 4 feet. That's 48 times his height. 48 times his height. If you're 5 feet tall, 48 times is 240 feet. Try falling 240 feet and see if you recover in a minute or two. Amazing, isn't it? Love kissing Grammys, but they're hard to find. They are. They are. I should get some. Yeah, energy drinks are bad news. True enough. True enough. Don't like angelfish. Meat. You may get banned for that. You cannot, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you cannot not like angelfish. You are required as a function of your presence here among us to like angelfish. You don't have to keep them, you just have to like them. Nobody dislikes angelfish. That's like disliking bettas or guppies. There's certain things you just can't do. It isn't right. Ooby doo, David and Goliath. The dwarf sage has been growing quick. It shot leaves out within 2 weeks, slowed down a bit, but very healthy. Have a good root system, you bet. What else? You can't sex them. Oh, meep. Oh, meep. Somebody tell Meep about sticks and fans. Sticks and fans. Look on the bottom of the fish, and if it has a stick, it's a boy. If it has a fan, it's a girl. Sticks and fans, like that. Stick is a boy, fan is a girl. That's true for live bearers, not true for egg layers. Dooby doo. What else? Oh, Stan says psycho kind of scares me sometimes. Stan. Chad Gardens in LA. Can the Gendapodium be cut off if it's too long? Yes. It is not an organ, it is fins. If the fins are too long, they can be trimmed so that the fins will work better. They're fins that form into a tube. When they come forward, they form a tube. If it's like some very fancy guppies, platies, swords have fins, gonopodium fins that are kind of frilly. You can cut that off, put a dab of disinfectant on it to prevent bacterial infection. Just a dab will do. And then when it tries to breed and swings that fin down and around, it's a 180. It'll form a tube and it'll be able. It doesn't actually enter the female. It comes right up to it and just touches it, and there's sperm right at the tip of it that 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 catch on that vent in the female and work their way in. So it doesn't actually penetrate. It just barely touches. God is smart. I tell you, I don't think they feel it. Fins have no nerve endings. They also have no blood vessels, which is why um, they don't regrow typically because there's no blood supply. They will heal, but they sort of heal over, and they may attach where it's torn or some. But they can fish feel pain. I personally don't believe fish feel pain. There are others, reputable researchers, who claim that fish do feel pain. They have a funny way of showing it if they do. I have seen fish bitten in half, right down to the anus, the tail gone, or the top of it, a big chunk eaten right out of it. And the fish is swimming around, eating, acting as though nothing happened. Now, it's not swimming real well, mind you, but it's also not laying on the bottom quivering. It's not showing signs of, of pain. I don't believe that fish experience pain. I think they experience irritation because I have seen fish scrape to try to get a parasite off of them. So how you square those two, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's a major minor thing. Maybe they're maybe they're able to sense minor in infractions, but not major ones. It's like if you get your leg cut off, what do you feel? I don't know. I've never had a leg cut off, never lost a limb. But if you lose a limb, you don't feel the pain in the limb because it isn't there anymore. You would probably feel pain at the source of the where it's severed. You would feel pain there, but that pain would probably go away pretty quickly. So it may be that the issue is fish are able, like we are, to feel the sensory awareness of their body and what's happening to their body, but to have no particular reaction when a whole chunk of their body is suddenly removed from them, as would be the case in losing a limb, I would assume. Vampire shrimp. He ate faces off my guppies like Hannibal Lecter. They weren't too bothered. Horrific shrimp was missold. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? What age do angelfish mature to start mating? It doesn't really have to do with age. It has to do with it doesn't have to do with size either, although it does. It has to do with the rate of growth. When they reach a certain level of growth, then their sexual organs are able to develop. Prior to that, they can't. So you can't have a dwarf angel that is dwarfed by starvation develop sexual organs, or at least not viable ones. It won't. They won't mature. Um, it can phantom pain, but phantom pain isn't really pain, or is it? I don't. Never had it. It's it's the memory of pain, the thought of pain. It's the memory of what it would feel like if that were still there, but it's not still there, so it can't be hurting you. It's got to be a mental thing and not a physical thing. Grim. Grim Gary. Gary's being grim. Yeah, that's pretty grim, I got to admit. Dooby doo. Nice. Nice. Love my ghost shrimp. I've got, excuse me, ghost shrimp in my salt tank that I collected last summer that are still going strong in there. I have ghost shrimp in it. I've got snails, couple of different kinds of snails. I've got a couple of different kinds of crabs. I have hermit crab and I also have a stone crab, and I've got another little oyster crab. I have two species, actually three. I've got a single goby. Need to get more of them. I have a pupfish, and I've got a killie. I have a pair of pupfish, male and a female, that have not spawned. Don't know why. Wish they would. And I may have to take the killie out because it might be eating the eggs. To William Avery. Thank you for answering me, Father Fish, because I'm gonna get that 5 pack of red plants. The 15 pack of stems I just got off you are starting to grow very nicely. Bravo. What is your favorite snail to add to a tank? Well, I like two. I like neorites because they're just a workhorse, and I like mystery snails because I like the size, I like the texture of the snail, and I like the fact that it spawns. I've got a colony of them now that are putting out egg masses every day. They're just knocking them back. I'm gonna have snails everywhere. Yeah, neorites. There are neorites in the Far East that are rainbow colored. I've never seen them locally. I've seen pictures of them. Do Sailor Red, Father Fish. Just want to say thank you. 1 year into a dirt tank, and other than a bit of hair algae, it is awesome. Peace, love, puppies. Love to buy some of your mystery snails. Once I get a little size on them, I'll put them up. I definitely will do that. Erie first and the surprise rabbit snail. I've got a bunch of rabbit snails. They have never bred for me. I've heard people say they do. I kind of don't believe it. I think what they're saying are MTS. I don't think they're mysteries. I think the mystery is a brackish snail like a nearite and requires salt water to be able to multiply. Now, I don't know, but I know I've had rabbits for about 3 years steady. They're alive, they're doing well. I got a colony of them. Never seen eggs or baby or nothing. Tom LaRocque, you're welcome. Daphne, you're my favorite live food to raise. I need to get some. I don't have any. Do do do. Spotted leopard ramshorn. That's a nice snail. Ramshorns are a nice snail. I like ramshorns. What I don't like is spixies. Spixie is like a big ramshorn, and they are monster plant eaters. They will eat a plant down to the root and then eat the root. And they'll go right after it. I mean, they are some kind of awful. Spixies. Perfect name for a nasty snail. Who's this? Sam Harrison. Bred rabbits in freshwater, not by choice. Are you sure they were rabbits and uh not MTS, not just little MTS? Did they grow did they grow up to become 2 inch long rabbits? That would be the proof of it. They're aware of being hooked. That's for sure, Gary. That's for sure. Meep is saying he's got baby neorites. I hatched them once in water that was so hard it was brackish. Dooby doo. Any wild caught fish you've encountered that you wish more hobbyists could enjoy? Yeah, I think really these Fundulus creotis, they're a stunningly beautiful fish and are almost unkept in the hobby. I've got a small colony of about 3 males and 1 female that are now all going on 3 inches. They're getting pretty good size. They're a good solid 2 inches. And the males are just stunningly beautiful, and the females glitter. They have glitter all over them. They're it's really a very very pretty fish. Pink. It's what golden top minnow. What is a walk for? For twowing at wabbits. Evie. I father fish. I have a 75 gallon with 6 small fancy goldfish. They haven't grown in since I got them 5 months. What can I do to let them grow? Put them in outdoors in a pond. Put them outdoors in a pond. You may need to put some kind of a screen over it to keep predators out so they don't get gobbled up. But if you will do that, they will grow. It can be difficult at best because their food needs are so substantial. They're really difficult to grow in a tank and still be able to maintain a healthy tank. But to put them outside, and they will live outside year round, so long as the water doesn't freeze to the bottom. If your water freezes with a shell on top, they'll be fine in that. They can tolerate very cold water. Put them outside. Dooby 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 doo. Oh, Hank DeVries. Are your aquarium lights turned off? They are. And I didn't want to go back there and turn them back on. So I just left them all. Oh. Whole sand bed is teeming with MTS snails. Keep the whole substrate cranking. Have one rabbit. MTS are a wonder in a tank. They're like earthworms in a tank. They're so valuable. What? Who's collecting them? Who's collecting rabbit snails? I assume that means in the wild. I don't even know where they're from. Where are rabbit snails from? Let's look that one up. Let's see. Rabbit snail. Home. Whoops. Always trying for sale size. Thanks. Baby colors, parameters, everything except home. Care, temperature. How long? Home. Turf. Can't think of the right word. It's a Talumania species. Freshwater species of gastropod from the genus Talumania that originate from Sulawesi, Indonesia. Well, there you go, boys and girls. They breed in fresh water. How about that? How about that? You know what? I can maybe show this to you. Can I? Let me see. Dooby doo. Peplin Creek is here. Well, look it up. Rabbit snails. Okay, I've learned something tonight. They're freshwater fish, a freshwater snail from Indonesia. They can they can breed in a tank. Mine if not. So I just need to get more, I guess. Can the resurrection jar be put in the aquarium sideways where the fish can't get in, but the creatures can migrate as things grow? If the fish can't get in, I guess that means you put a screen over it or something. Yeah, you could certainly do that. I mean, that's an interesting idea. Have like a secure food web in the tank. Um, Only thing I would be concerned about, well, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think you ought to do it and tell us how it works out. We have a super sticker. Can't wait for the Father Fish book. Captain Jim Pirate Adventurer 4.99 super sticker. Thank you, sir. Drum blanket. Drum blanket was in the Discord recently, I remember. We were chatting about this and that. Plants, I think. Both my res jars soured in 2 weeks. It's odd that they took 2 weeks to sour. Normally, they would sour in a day. That's odd. Were you feeding them or putting something in there? It just seems odd that it would take 2 weeks for it to sour. You must have been putting something in. Roxanne wants to know if you want some axolotl eggs. Yeah, I do, and I will messenger. Yeah, absolutely. Mine are not spawning apparently, but maybe it's because I don't know what to look for. I did a major water change just last week, a few days ago, um, and they're doing fine. I have not fed them every day. I fed them maybe two to three times a week, and through the winter, probably no more than once a week. Mostly worms. I'm now feeding the soft pellet for salamanders and frogs and stuff. Um, but I'm also feeding worms. So I need to know what to look for. But yeah, I'd be happy to get some, and I do have a lab set up. I can hatch them out and begin feeding them. So I'll get in touch. I will do that. Eric, shiver me timbers. Shiver me timbers. Drum blanket, that's me, he says. Gary Stein. Drum blanket, nothing out of it. I use mud from the creek. In a few days, there's a little bit, but then everything, life, few days life. Okay, so it happened pretty quickly then. Yeah, don't use mud. That was an error on my part. In the first video I did, I talked about getting a handful of mud. That's wrong. You want a handful of leaves, a handful of leaves in the jar, and that won't sour. The mud, it can. It doesn't always, but all too often it does. So try just leaves, and you won't have the problem. Danny Can, what's the release date of the famous Fatherfish book? We're looking at probably May 1 is the current target date. we're we're doing edit right now on everything. We're not at final edit yet, but we are at edit. We're gathering graphics and pictures and all that, structuring, kind of putting it all together. We've got pretty much all of the content settled. There are a few new things coming in, but really not much. So we've got the structure. We're putting it together. We're editing text, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're getting there. We have some extremely talented people working on this. So I'm enormously inspired by what they're doing. Yeah, you can feed your resurrection jar, and I think in point of fact you need to, because after a while they just burn through it all. And if you want to keep it going, you're better off putting it in a tray or like a 5 gallon little. Somebody was mentioning them earlier, a refrigerator drawer, something that size. You'll be able to maintain it better. It'll get better aeration, and feed it leaves. You can feed leaves. That's really the best way to keep it going. The earlier start, Erie said. You bet. Dooby doo. Plants are very satisfying if you have patience. Patience is the key. Sandra Cran just received my first batch of plants. They are beautiful. Delighted to hear it. Delighted to hear it. You can have a garden anywhere. Aquarium gardens are for fish. Wesley Tennyson. I wonder if Korean natural farming techniques are applicable. They absolutely are, and we've been adopting them and adopting techniques that are being developed in the Pacific Northwest as well. Um, the primary focus is on the food web. That's really what we've gotten from all of this, from the Korean as well as the Pacific Northwest, from Edith, is the food web. The food web is really key to being able to generate the cycle, the full cycle. You've got to have all that microbiota in order to make it happen. Fastest plant. The fastest plant is the racer, not eraser, the racer. The racer is fastest plant to grow. At a given stage, every plant goes nuts. I'll try again with only muck this time. Loving the aquarium products. Kind of screwed up because I got ahead of myself. Got 5 tanks quickly instead of getting one right first. Yeah, it's easy to do that. You need to take your time and learn how to do it right. I'm glad you're on Discord where you can get the right information and just get the kind of tutelage that'll be most beneficial. How we doing time wise here? We are at 8 o'clock. We have done it, people. We have done it. Lumpy dog. Want to set up a 29 deep dirted tank and plant with only cuttings from my little fish room. Then time lapse the growing up of the aquarium. No idea what fish to stock. Likely a monos. That sounds good. That sounds good. 3G is yelling at me, says me. Well, just tell him to be quiet. Tell him now, just be quiet. You've had your say, now sit down. We're going to pray now. Just be quiet. That'll get him. Found duckweed in my res jar. Goldfish love me. You bet. Water lettuce has tripled in a few weeks. Duckweed triples every, duckweed doubles. Duckweed doubles daily. Duckweed doubles daily. There it is, DDD. Duckweed doubles daily. And it really does. All right. We're down to it, my friends. Went to Mass today, says Erie. Did it do any good, Erie? Are you better for it? Judy Two Moons. hit the like button. Do-do-do. All right, we're done now. We've been there, done that. See you all over on Discord. Make sure you read the newsletter. Check out fatherfish.fish. Always something new happening there. We got some special sales. I'm going to put the red plants on sale. I'll get them right back up. Show and tell Wednesday at 8. Show and tell Wednesday at 8. It's only for 1 hour. You can come up. You get a few minutes to show off your tank. We usually get 15 to 20 people coming up during the hour. It's a lot of fun. Everybody enjoys it. Erie is giving us green hearts. It's Shamrock time. Love you all. And bye for now.